Hello everyone, and today I'll be reviewing the album Ghost Stories by Coldplay. It was released on May 16th of this year, 2014. A little chart information about it: it debuted at number 1 on the UK album charts and the Billboard 200, and has currently sold over 2 million records worldwide. It was released on the label Atlantic and Parlophone, and this is actually Coldplay's first time releasing any albums on Atlantic after being, switched over from Capitol Records. The singles on this album are Magic, Midnight, A Sky Full of Stars, True Love, Ink, and Another's Arms. That's actually about 3/4 of the album. It's very short, only 9 tracks. But anyways, let's get this started. Track number 1 is Always in My Head. The track opens with a choral section, but altered by looping effects right before it goes into the main section, driven by drums and orchestra. It's very mid-tempo and has gorgeous chord progressions, as the song talks about how the girl Chris is singing about is indeed always in his head, and that his heart won't move. He says that she's chosen out from the rest, meaning that she must be something special. Track number 2, Magic. The guitar and drum track open this song up, staying rather simple, as a welcome piano part enters as the verse goes on. This track has some really cool percussional stuff going on, with some snapping or slapping sounds going on right before the second verse. Chris shows off some falsetto in a bridge section, with a nice build-up before calming down once again to end the song. The song itself is about how the love between him and the girl is like magic, even though she's pretty much cutting him off. He can't get over her and believes by some magic that they'll be able to fix things. Track number 3, Ink. This track also has some nice percussive tracking with some bongos and various samba instruments, with some nice acoustic guitar as well. Various little effects are thrown in to spice up the track. In the song, it talks about getting a tattoo that's meant to represent keeping that special someone close to you, attached to you, but the pain you feel at the same time. Chris loves the girl so much that it hurts. Basically, saying that, the tattoo, as in the girl, it's more painful to lose it than to actually get it, of course. We have track number 4, True Love. This track opens with an arpeggiated line going throughout the song, and an interesting chord progression shift that actually suggests just how sad the song really is, and I feel this is the saddest song on the entire album. These two things, plus the drum track, are what make the song. It's about one-sided love. Chris even goes as far as to say that if she doesn't say that she loves him, to at least lie about it. Clearly, Chris is having a rough time getting over this girl, as the song comes near the end with a guitar solo with bended notes. It's about how a relationship went up in flames, in reference to one of their past songs. Track number 5, Midnight. This track has a very xylophonish sound going on, as well as very ghostly synthesized harmonies to accompany it, almost like a whisper. The song talks about being in a storm of emotions, and to leave a light on, perhaps representing hope. The track then starts to build up with running synthesizers and a pulsating bass, almost like a heartbeat getting faster right before getting quiet again, ending with those same harmonies. Track number 6, Another's Arms. This track sees an intro with piano and a very operatic singing, before Chris sings in a rather low voice. Simple chord progressions and drum track make this song, but more so the lyrics than anything else, as well as the opera singing. It simply expresses the feeling of no longer having that special someone there to even watch TV with late at night, knowing that they're with someone new, and the sheer pain they feel. The opera singing is basically the embodiment of a literal ghost, which is really cool. Track number 7, Oceans. Opening up with an acoustic guitar and almost heart monitorish or sonar sounding thing. This track sees a beautiful chord progression blended tightly with orchestral movement. After the only 2 verses on the track, we're met with a very full sounding orchestra, very beautiful. After it's all said and done, however, we hear various sound effects going on, including the sound of church or wedding bells, a droning effect, and the sounds of the ocean. The lyrics give off a feeling of drowning in emotions. It's about change, almost as if you're coming to terms with the fact that the relationship is indeed broken. Now we have track 8, A Sky Full of Stars. Being the only real upbeat track on the album, it has a very housey feel to it, constantly building up, even having a bass drop here and there. Great rhythmic acoustics are also included, adding a nice blend to the mostly synthesized track. The song talks about seeing that loved one in the stars, alluding to the fact that they are no longer reachable, but we can still see them. Even still, Chris is trying to find a way to reach them, and still feels love for them. And now we have the final track, track number 9, O, which is just a literal O. The final track on the album opens with a sweet, light piano melody as Chris begins to sing, talking about his lost love, how she only sees their love as a flock of birds, something that comes and goes, which is the main theme of the song. This is Chris's final attempt to reach his lost love. After several minutes of complete and utter silence, we're greeted with the same choral section we hear in the first track, track number 1. In a very ghostly, almost cryptic voice, we hear the words "Don't Let Go" song, perhaps being Chris telling his love one last time to not let go of their love. Overall, with this album is unlike any Coldplay album I have ever heard. It has incredible narrative, incredible narrative, and what really brings it home is the story behind Ghost Stories. During the development of this album, Chris Martin and his wife were going through a really rough time in their marriage. Not long before the album was released, though, Chris announced that he and his wife were actually separating. This is a very emotional album, filled with sadness, deludedness, and that helpless feeling of losing the one you love, as well as still feeling love for that person, even when they don't feel love back, which is something that I can personally relate to. Coldplay wanted a departure from the heavily synthed up previous album, Milo Xyloto, and wanted a more stripped down sound. And while there's a lot of synthesized instrumentation, there's a good blend of acoustic instrumentation as well. You really feel for Chris in this album, as he's haunted by a bad relationship, and constantly pleads for their love to come back as it was. And what's really interesting, I feel, is that he doesn't try to hide it. He puts it out there straightforward in the open, how he really feels, So thank you for joining me on this album review. If you want to see a review of an album or song that you might like or suggest, just please leave a comment down below, and thank you for joining me.